I am turning 31 in a couple of weeks from the time of making this video. So I thought I'm gonna share with you guys 3 things that I learned in my 20s. My 20s have been extremely eventful, like many lives. It feels like I lived many lives in the span of 10 years. And I picked these 3 things. They just came to my head, but I can think of 30-40 lessons that I learned. Make sure you stick until the end of the video. The third thing is where a lot of people waste their time when they're younger, in their teenage years and in their early 20s. There is so much time that goes into wasted time that goes into it. So make sure you stick till the end of the video. Let's get started. Number one thing I learned in my 20s is humility. I learned to be more humble. I've learned that I don't know everything. You know, that's one of the one of the tendencies of young people. Is when I say young people, trust me, I'm 31 years young. I'm just getting younger by the day. Particularly people in their 20s, early 20s, mid 20s, teenage years. We usually think we know everything at that time. We are not open to advice. We are not open to perspectives. I'm not saying just because you're that age, you know, but it's a tendency, guys, okay? And I certainly was guilty of that. I thought I knew everything. I saw the world as my way or the highway, and I definitely know that this is a tendency with people in their teenage years and in their 20s. Is you think you know everything, you think you got life figured out, and perspectives don't matter that much, and you know, we learn either by insight or by pain. And I've had many tumbles and painful situations that made me realize, no, you don't know everything, and there is a lot for you to learn. And for me personally, it really started happening when I was 25 or 26, and I began experimenting with magic mushrooms. They really showed me how little I actually know. There is the pre-magic mushroom Saeed and post-magic mushroom Saeed, and post-magic mushroom Saeed is definitely more realistic, more objective, realizes there's so much that he does not know, and realizes that he is a student. Before that, I have to say, in the first 5-6 years of my 20s, I really thought I had everything figured out. I really thought I knew it all. It was my way or the highway, and I learned, and I'm still learning. Trust me, this is not finished. Okay, trust me, I am more flawed than some of you guys might think. Just because I share valuable knowledge and wisdom and information in these videos, it does not mean I'm not flawed. Believe me, I'm gonna make a video and just show you guys the ugly side of Saeed, okay? That being said, definitely now that I am in the 30s, definitely if I was to compare myself 10 years ago, I am definitely I have more humility to me. I'm more in a learner's mindset rather than I know it all mindset. So that's number one. Number two, I learned the importance of solitude. Yeah, I learned the importance of solitude. I really, it's funny, the more time I spent, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, the more time I spent, quote unquote, the older I get. I feel younger, by the way, than I was 10 years ago. But anyway, let's just, for the sake of discussion here, say the older I got, the further I went into the 20s, the more I enjoyed spending time alone, the more I saw the value in it, the more I figured out my life. Because guys, if you're always surrounded by people, if you're constantly being bombarded with other people's feedback, other people's energy, other people's information, other people's perspectives, you know, there is such a thing as having no perspective, as in I know it all, and having too much perspective, too much. You know, if you're constantly surrounded by people and constantly, listening and this and that and not spending time alone, somebody might convince you that it's okay to be a pedophile. There's too much perspective there, and I'm using this example because I was watching this documentary on this cult called Nevium or something. Anyway, their leader's name is Keith Raniere or something. He actually convinced them through brainwashing techniques that pedophilia and rape is okay. That's too much perspective. So if you're not spending enough time in solitude, enough time in meditation, enough time just in the silence of your own voice and the silence of your own presence, it's gonna be hard for you to figure out your life mission, your life purpose, what you like, what you don't like, what you're all about, what you want your life to be like, because you're constantly being exposed to other people's perspectives. Now, the problem with being constantly exposed with other people's perspectives and energies and everything, which is a tendency with young people, is most of these people in and of themselves are not spending time in solitude. So a lot of their opinions are just based on things they heard from other people. This is people conform and they just pick up ideas from other people, and basically who's feeding people all these ideas and all these opinions is the media and all that kind of stuff, right? So in truth, this might seem like a contradiction to the first one, but be selective about who you're listening to and spend a lot of time in solitude. Let's say you listen to people's perspectives, be like, okay, I will consider. Spend time in solitude, meditate on this, sleep on it, meditate on it, think about it on your own, contemplate on it. And you'll pretty soon realize there is nothing that you can't figure out on your own, in the sense that you will figure it out. If you just spend enough time in solitude, you will figure it out. So it seems that the further I went into my 20s, the more I enjoyed the solitude of my own presence, the being on my own. And it's a paradox because I am very much in the learner's mindset now, a lot more than I was 10 years ago. Yet paradoxically, I spend a ton of time alone, like a ton of time just observing solitude. Number 3, here it is. Guys, don't waste your time on this, okay? Here it is. You do not need that many friends. Just a handful of people. Just a handful of souls that resonate, understand you, care about you. That's very important, because so many of our friends in our teens and 20s, it's a competition. They care about you until you're doing better than them, in their own head anyway, until you're making more money than them, or until you have a better relationship than they do. That's the truth of a lot of our friends in our late teens and early 20s and mid 20s. That's the truth of it. So it seems to me that as I spent more time in my 20s, the cream rises to the top. Meaning, as I spent more time, 25, 26, 27, I began to really know who my homies are, who my friends are. And I can tell you, 27, 28, 29, I began to be even more selective and began to spend less time with certain people. Not that there's anything against them. It's just the cream rises to the top. All right? So why don't you learn from my experience, and I'm sure the experience of many others who've gone through their 20s. Just don't waste too much time going to too many parties, hanging around with too many cliques and too many different groups. Let the cream rise to the top. Act on number 2 thing that I learned. Spend more time in solitude. Meditate. Be your own person. And believe me, in that kind of relaxed alpha brainwave state, you'll attract the people, your soul fam, the people that are closest to you in terms of vibration, in terms of resonance, and the people that really care for you. And you don't need that many friends, just a handful of people. Guys, just a handful of people. Don't waste your time on this. And the same thing goes for partners. Don't be going around there chasing girls or chasing guys and going on all these dating apps and trying, I'm gonna go on a date with this girl and that girl and this girl. Be your own person. Be your own person. embody a higher state of being, a state of relaxation, a state of fulfillment, a state of non-attachment and non-neediness, and all the right people fall in place. The friends, the partners, or one partner, it all falls into place. And that's how it happened for me. As as I started, it was basically the psychedelic era when I was 25 or 26. After that, I began to meditate more. I began to spend more time in solitude, and the cream just rose to the top on its own. I began to just sort of know who my friends are, the ones that are for life type thing, and I attracted my dream girl that way, actually. You see, don't waste too much time, guys. Don't waste too much time in your teens, in your 20s, chasing girls or guys, if you're a girl, or chasing friends and other people. I'll tell you something, most humans, they're lost. They're lost. They're lost. And the younger they are, the less time they've had on this earth, it's way more likely that they're even more lost. Okay? That's about it. I'll see you guys in the next video.